Mum was worried when the cat scratched her child. She installed a camera and saw something terrifying. Our furry friends have a knack for surprising us. A concerned mother found herself in distress when her child was scratched by the family cat. She set up a camera and witnessed something absolutely horrifying. Kim was shocked when she retrieved her baby from the bed that morning. His small chest was covered in scratches. The cat was peacefully snoozing on the windowsill, but she was shocked to see the extent of the scratches on her baby. She cherished the cat as her firstborn and believed that it had played a significant role in reuniting her family. However, something had gone terribly wrong. They needed to determine what had occurred. The cat gracefully approached their human mum, gently rubbing against her legs. It made Kim cry. She was concerned about the safety of her baby if her cat, Belle, posed a threat. However, it was impossible for them to completely disregard it. Mike, her spouse, attempted to console her. Cameras would be installed in the room to determine the cause of the situation. They observed them for the remainder of the day, and surprisingly, nothing appeared out of the ordinary. The baby shared a portion of his meal and playfully licked his fingers, bringing forth laughter from him. During nap time, the cat peacefully slumbered beside the baby. If this creature was angry, she's determined to keep it under wraps. However, the following morning, the baby had additional scratches on its body. They reviewed the video and were horrified with what they saw. Kim was immediately captivated by Belle when she saw her as a tiny kitten. Kim frequently visited the animal shelter, spending time with the dogs and cats, ensuring that they were fed and even taking the dogs out for walks. She had been thinking about getting a cat, but hadn't made a decision on which one to choose. One day, when she was busy with a dog, a staff member from the shelter beckoned her over to investigate something. She couldn't believe how tiny the kitten was. Someone discovered her on the side of the road. They patiently observed her for several hours, hoping for the mother's return, but she never appeared. Eventually, they decided to take her to the shelter. The kitten was just a few hours old and was absolutely adorable. They were unable to retain her at the shelter, and all of their foster homes were already occupied. Kim usually approached things with a careful consideration, but this time she decided to be more spontaneous. She was completely smitten with the adorable little kitten and was eager to lend a hand. She kindly offered to bring the kitten along. She was more than happy to take care of her. The baby would require constant care, and she would have to wake up every few hours to feed her. However, thanks to Kim's ability to work from home, she was able to accomplish the task. As they were familiar with her, and she had completed all the necessary home checks, the shelter granted her immediate permission to bring the kitten home. They were appreciative that someone could adopt the adorable creature. However, Kim had to prioritize taking Belle. The tiny kitten was affectionately named, to the vet for a thorough examination. She also required supplies and guidance on how to properly care for the new baby. Her life would undergo a significant transformation that day, and it was only the beginning. She arrived at the vet's office and noticed a man she found quite charming, almost as adorable as the kitten she had in her arms. Mike, a compassionate young veterinarian, dedicated his time to assisting the shelter and caring for the animals in need. He was delighted to assist the young woman and the kitten. He simply hoped that the kitten wouldn't break Kim's heart in the long run. It's possible that the kitten abandoned by the mother may have some undetected defects. He attempted to caution Kim about the potential for complications with Belle, but she was unwilling to listen. She was committed to ensuring the kitten's survival. The next few weeks were challenging. Kim always brought Belle along with her wherever she went. At home, the kitten frequently curled up inside her jacket to stay cozy. She made sure to feed her regularly, which helped them develop a strong connection. It felt as if she had just brought home a brand new baby. Kim wasted no time in informing the shelter that Belle was no longer a foster. She was determined to keep the kitten. Or at least she was hopeful. Occasionally, circumstances can shift in an instant. Mike made it a point to regularly check in with the young patient and her human mom, and their conversations often veered into other topics as well. However, their next encounter was bound to be far from enjoyable. Belle had been enjoying her meals of solid food for a week and playfully scampering around like a content kitten. They found everything was going smoothly with the kitten. But then, things took a drastic turn. One evening while they were watching TV, Kim noticed that Belle seemed a bit off. She was playing less than usual during that late hour. In addition, she neglected to finish her dinner. It was a little concerning, but she may have simply been playing too vigorously all day. Then, out of nowhere, she experienced difficulty breathing in the middle of the night. She went to get some water, and then she seemed unsteady on her feet and having difficulty walking. Eventually, Kim came to the realization that there was a significant issue with her kitten. She felt a bit concerned and thought about calling Mike at home. But with the sunrise and her impending arrival at the office, she decided to let it go. Upon arrival, Mike and his team found Kim already waiting. Mike quickly sprang into action when he saw the limp cat that she was holding, his face filled with concern. They had to assist Belle as soon as they could. She was experiencing a lack of oxygen. Their immediate priority was to administer oxygen to her and then investigate the cause of the sudden illness in the otherwise healthy cat. After conducting multiple tests, Mike unfortunately had to deliver some distressing news to Kim. The cat had a heart failure and was very sick. However, they were not ready to give up on her just yet. They needed to do something. The mother cat likely left her because of her minor heart defect. They needed to address the issue promptly. The initial procedure involved surgery. It was quite daunting considering her small size, but the surgery was necessary for her growth. Kim had the opportunity to spend time with her and be there for her as they prepared for the upcoming operation. Afterwards, she was anxiously awaiting the news of the outcome. As Mike emerged, his expression was grave. She was uncertain whether he had positive or negative news. And when he shared the details with her, Kim couldn't help but break down. The kitten had successfully undergone the surgery and was in good health, but they would closely monitor her and provide any necessary treatment, but their main goal was to ensure that Belle enjoyed a long and healthy life. She spent some time in the clinic, and the highlight of Mike's day was when Kim came to visit her kitten. They would later laugh about how she was completely absorbed in her kitten's welfare, oblivious to Mike's attempts to win her over. However, when she arrived to bring Belle back, he made his intentions quite evident by asking her out on a date. She decided to stay in for their first date, enjoying pizza and movies together. When Belle snuggled up against Mike and cuddled with him, she definitely scored some major points. Their love story began with a bang. After about a year, they decided to tie the knot, and Belle had the honor of being the ring bearer. She had accompanied them to their honeymoon. This cat played a significant role in uniting their family, which made it all the more unsettling when it appeared to become aggressive towards the baby. She had a strong connection with him, even before he was born, and they were confident that the two would share an immediate bond, just like the three of them did before Kim discovered she was pregnant. The cat began behaving oddly. Belle would affectionately climb over her and nuzzle her head against her belly. She even slept with her head on that spot, which was a new experience for her. Her actions remained puzzling until the revelation of the impeding parenthood. The cat had been trying to get their attention for weeks, but they had failed to grasp her message. Her affection for the baby bump persisted throughout the pregnancy, and as Kim approached her due date, it seemed like the cat became even more vigilant and cautious around her. The couple was thrilled by this, particularly because many people were inquiring about their plans for Belle now that they were expecting a child. No, that was definitely not the case. Despite numerous warnings, they dismissed the concerns of the cat's potential jealousy or aggression. In addition, Mike took care of cleaning all the litter boxes, ensuring the safety of the baby and Kim. Were people really acting crazy? Kim unexpectedly went into labor before they were fully prepared. But fortunately, everything went smoothly. Both Kim and their newborn baby boy, Ryan, were doing well. Kim's hospital stay ended up being a few nights longer than anticipated, which made it the longest time they'd ever been apart from Belle. They were expecting the cat to be all over her when she returned, but something unexpected occurred. As they entered the room, the cat approached her, but soon shifted its attention to the car seat containing the precious bundle. He began to nuzzle against the car seat and gently rested his head against the baby's head. It was an incredibly heartwarming moment, bringing tears to both the eyes of Kim and Mike. It appeared that everything was going smoothly, but life has a way of throwing curveballs. Their family was experiencing a multitude of changes, and it seemed that more were on the horizon. They were transitioning to a new home, and poor Belle had to handle the additional adjustments. She found herself in a new situation, no longer the sole child, and feeling a bit out of place. In addition, the cat's world became much louder. Usually, it would just be Kim and Belle spending time together all day while Kim worked from home, and Mike was at the vet clinic. She used to enjoy napping on her favorite person for most of the day, but now she had to shift her attention to the baby that needed her. Belle had always been a social feline, but she appeared to be a little overwhelmed by the constant activity and adjustments. It's understandable why she would feel that way. Kim and Mike were completely worn out. Naturally, it didn't make matters any easier that their precious little one arrived with a challenging problem: a severe case of colic. He had been sleepless for weeks, with constant crying throughout the night, leaving his parents awake and desperately trying to soothe him. It was challenging. On several occasions, whenever one of them felt like they were reaching their breaking point, Belle would offer them comforting cuddles. It proved to be quite beneficial, but there was always another unexpected occurrence. Whenever the baby was about to wake up and cry, Belle would often soothe him by getting into his crib and placing his head on his tummy. Surprisingly, the cat displayed aggression for the first time, despite being a source of comfort and safety. She was not fond of others swiftly reaching out for the baby or bending down to pick him up. She occasionally expressed her displeasure when others invaded her personal space, but she never caused any harm to anyone. Kim and Mike were both certain that she would never be able to, especially not to the precious baby she adored. However, when they were completely worn out from a severe lack of sleep and constant moving, finally, after several hours, they had reached their breaking point. The baby was beginning to sleep more soundly, but they had a lot of time to catch up on, making it seem like they would never fully recover. Then their family surprised them in a big way. They had hired a night nanny for a week. They can rest assured knowing that there was someone available to monitor Ryan throughout the night, allowing them to get some much needed sleep. Then they didn't have to constantly get up whenever he shifted positions. Ryan had been sleeping in their room up until now, but the couple was open to trying anything to finally get some rest. The nanny was also a nurse and came highly recommended. They encountered her during the day on multiple occasions, and she appeared to have a good rapport with Ryan. However, what truly reassured them was Belle's positive opinion of her. Belle was unfazed as she picked up the baby, displaying complete composure in the presence of the nurse. On her initial visit, there was a sense of unease amongst all of them. Kim and Mike decided to rest, and the nurse only alerted them when Ryan woke up and needed to eat. They had finally managed to get a good night's sleep after months of struggling. It was absolutely wonderful. Even Belle eventually found her way into her bed for a nap. The exhausted feline was equally fatigued as her human guardians. They finally had the enthusiasm to venture out and discover their new neighborhood. Belle rarely ventured outside without being on a leash. However, now that she had gotten plenty of rest, Kim was able to take both the cat and her baby for a leisurely stroll. They resided near a lush forest, and the stroll through it was absolutely breathtaking. The following evening, the couple decided to make the most of their assistance and enjoy a much-needed date night after the arrival of their baby. They had a lovely evening, and little did they know that the following morning would bring them great fear. Upon their return, the baby was peacefully slumbering in his crib, with the cat keeping watch nearby. The nurse initially had some doubts, but she was eventually reassured that everything was okay. After a long day, the couple settled into bed, feeling a sense of tranquility that would soon be disrupted. The following morning, when Kim went to pick up Ryan, she was filled with shock and panic. The baby had scratches all over his tiny body, including a few on his face. How did he acquire them? Did Belle scratch him? Did she feel envious? Did all those alterations overwhelm her? Perhaps the previous night's outing had caused her some stress. They were unaware, and Kim felt anxious about the possibility of not being satisfied with the responses. If Belle posed a threat to their baby, what course of action would they take? It would be like having to decide between their two beloved children. All day, Kim was overwhelmed with fear and worry, unable to hold back her tears. Kim and Mike decided to set up a camera in the baby's room to keep an eye on things. Throughout the day, they observed the interactions between the baby and the cat. However, it was quite peculiar as they failed to perceive any tension in the situation. The cat playfully licked Ryan's fingers, bringing a smile to the baby's face. He was in the early stages of trying solid food, and he shared some of his snacks with the cat. They even took naps together, just like they always did. Eventually, everything appeared to be fine, but they couldn't help but notice that the cat acted more skittish than usual. She was constantly startled by any movement. They were unsure of what to make of it until the following morning. The baby woke up with additional scratch marks. Kim was extremely concerned when her child got scratched by the cat. However, upon glancing at the camera, they were met with a truly horrifying sight. Once the little one was fast asleep, the night nurse made her rounds to ensure their well-being. Belle was peacefully resting by his feet, and she perked up when the nurse entered the room. However, everything appeared to be going well until this point. The nurse opened the top window, likely due to the room's high temperature. That's when something really unfortunate occurred. As soon as the window was open, Belle became extremely vigilant. Her demeanor shifted immediately. She seemed to be anticipating an event, and it was on the verge of occurring. After the nurse departed, the room fell into silence and darkness. Suddenly, a pair of luminous eyes materialized at the window. This is when Belle reacted immediately. She pounced on Ryan, leaving scratches in her wake. Whenever the animal shifted, the vigilant cat swiftly positioned itself to safeguard the peacefully slumbering baby from all directions. She went so far as to scratch his face while leaping to his defense. The mysterious silhouette on the camera resembled a bat. It is unlikely that the baby was in significant danger, but Belle was unaware of this and demonstrated a strong willingness to sacrifice herself to ensure the baby's safety. They had never expected such a close encounter with rural life. She was amazed by the unique animal she encountered. However, she was determined to stand up for her son. They learned their lesson and were wise to place their trust in the cat. She truly adored the baby, just as much as they had anticipated. The bat quickly flew away without causing any harm to anyone. Shortly after, screens were installed in the window to ensure that their brave protector would not need to guard the baby once more, and she never scratched him in that manner again. What an incredible story. What do you think about that cat? Comment your opinion in the comment section below.